Well, good morning, everybody. New episode, and I have to admit there is a lot to say about this episode. The question becomes where to start. Days like this are ones where I kind of wish I had taken notes. Rarity does something that works out in the end, but really probably cannot be considered to be a very wise choice to begin with, but then we wouldn't have an episode. She asks Applejack to judge a fashion show because Applejack has a very healthy dose of um, practicality in her mindset anytime she's talking about clothing. Basically, if it's not practical, it's not worth her time. At the same time, though, they kind of paint Applejack as being thoughtless in this one. She spends most of her time insulting the designers in the fashion show during the prep stages and the other judges. Rather than just giving honest opinions on is this practical. She actually comments mostly on the artistic. Oh, this is that. You know, you've got too much fabric and your dress will get dirty because it'll drag along the ground. Yes, that is more practical, but then, complaining that, an outfit is too black is an artistic opinion. Or feathers on a hat. That's an artistic opinion. The feathers didn't interfere with the visibility of the hat, so practically speaking, nothing wrong with a hat covered in feathers. Excuse me. And in the end, she nearly, technically she does, completely ruin the entire event that Rarity is hosting by driving off the judges. And since the other judges leave, the designers leave, and Applejack learns quite literally the hard way that being honest doesn't necessarily mean you have to be mean about it. And Rarity does this in brilliant fashion by taking her to one of the few ponies in Ponyville that hates apples. She only likes strawberries. Can't blame her, I love strawberries. So, Applejack, of course, being Applejack, goes and apologizes to everyone and literally drags them back and ties them up until they refuse. Okay, I'm curious about the writer for this episode. I'm going to have to go back and look at that one because AJ's not very AJ-like in this one, while still being kind of AJ-like, but still, AJ normally doesn't go tying people up. Anyway. In the end, everyone is a winner because Applejack can't decide when she becomes the winning vote, which is actually probably a pretty good idea because each of the three different lines of fashion were very, very different. One of them was very kind of classical and elegant with multiple layers. Another one was very dark and gothic. And the third one I laugh at because when they first introduce the guy, he says, I'm only interested in what hasn't been done yet, but will be done in the future. And then promptly started throwing together a bunch of 80s fashion, which, okay, fine, no big deal. Maybe they haven't had their 80s yet, except we already know from season 1, when we see the picture of Charlie after she got her cutie mark, that they had their 80s fashion period already. So it's just rather amusing. This guy's sitting here going, I'm only interested in what will happen in the future, and then promptly goes to past fashion. Smooth move. So, the thing I find interesting about this episode, though, is even though Applejack doesn't like fashion, she does already know better than to insult people over it. And most of the time she yells at Rarity, it's because Rarity's need for costume changes and being fashionable is interfering with what they're trying to do. And she is familiar with the world of fashion because of her time in Manhattan. But, I don't know. There just seems to be kind of some things that, at least for me, don't quite seem to resolve well with each other, I guess. But everything works out in the end. And I've probably been more yammering than actually saying anything helpful for the last 30 minutes, so I apologize. Yeah, no, I think I got everything. See, this is why I need to take notes. Enjoy your day, every pony.